My name is Edwina Fui. I work as the Intercultural Center Leadership Advisor within Multicultural Affairs. I want to say welcome again to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Week. This is our day 3, and I have the privilege and honor of introducing our keynote speakers, presenters for today. And so Hilltop Urban Gardens' mission is to create a sovereign food system and to create economic and racial justice. We are a Black, queer, and trans-led organization that centers the needs of Black folks and does work to support and uplift other marginalized communities. We operate through an anti-racist lens to create a community we can all thrive in. Our first presenter, Miriam McBride, is an active community activist. For the past 2 years, she has been involved with HUG and is currently working on projects to get youth involved in gardening and community organizing. She is also passionate about seeing the power of Black folks being able to reframe their relationship to land and food. Just a little side note, fun fact, I used to work with Miriam at Tacoma Community College. She was a former student leader, and now she's a community organizer. Okay, I'm so proud of you. Also, Erin Martinovich is a PhD candidate at Prescott College in the Sustainability Education Program. Evan has been an intern with HUG for the past 5 years. She is currently working on educating and training white volunteers at HUG with their white folks orientation. The purpose of this orientation is to help white volunteers to better understand their role when working within a Black-led organization. And this training teaches white folks about their whiteness and how it impacts the spaces they are in and affects people of color. Future Dr. Evan, I was saying that to him earlier. And so, Highland, can you please join me in welcoming Miriam and Evan? Woo!
Hi, y'all. So again, my name is Miriam. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm just super glad to be here. You want to finish up?
My name is Evan, and my pronouns are also she and her.
Like Edwina had said, our mission is to develop systems of food sovereignty and create racial and economic justice. And so today we're going to talk about pretty much why we started the work, and that's really about food sovereignty. So we're going to talk about the difference between food sovereignty, food charity, and food justice. And then we're going to talk about some of the programs we do in the community. And then one of our campaigns, which is the land and housing liberation, addressing gentrification. And then Evan will talk some about the role that white folks play in our organization and how they can be involved in a way that's like equitable. And before we get into that, some background about HUG. HUG was started back in 2010 as a project of our founder, Dean Jackson. And through that project, it started off with just they took a packet and their idea was to, in Tacoma, if you've ever been there, between the sidewalk and the street side, we have these really big plots of like grass. And so they're just like curbside grass. And so Dean had an idea that we had all this land, we could be growing food on it because there's nothing there, and in the summertime it just dies. So they took a packet with their idea of what they wanted to do and took it to the neighbors on their block, which is on South 19th and Ainsworth. And 2 people responded and said that they are totally okay with them building gardens. And that was the start of it all. They started growing just them on their free time when they got off work and stuff, growing food, and then sharing it back with the neighbors that share their yard. And now we have our main farm on South 19th in Ainsworth, and then we have 11 other curbside gardens that have been given to us, that have been donated by neighbors in the community. And then we also have some like hoop houses and like some bigger gardens throughout the neighborhood. And really all this work that we do, it was created to create an alternative food system for folks that are low income, that are Black, that are people of color, and so that they can have access to healthy food.
Yeah, and this work is really important in the Hilltop community because that neighborhood is a food insecure area. There's one grocery store, and it closes at like 11 or midnight, and then it opens at like 6 in the morning, so there really isn't a lot of options for accessing healthy food in the Hilltop community. Okay, so we wanted to kind of explain where HUG is coming from within this context of food justice and food sovereignty. And so what comes with that, a lot of people think about like food charity. So within these, we want to think about who's benefiting from food charity, food justice, and food sovereignty. Is it long-term, short-term? Who's making money off of this? Who's in charge? Who's controlling it? So food security is... there's a quote here: food security exists when all people at all times have access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to maintain a healthy and active life. So people having access to healthy food in their communities is a component of food security. Here's some examples of different ways food security can be modeled.